Oh, right, this part, that's a nightmare. Okay. Oh, God. Okay. Best way for me to do this is I loop sections that are complicated like this, because then I can get a better sense of what's breaking the fourth wall is the best way to describe it. Anything that's poking out, like if I hear a compressor, if I hear an EQ frequency, if I hear a guitar that's like drawing my attention towards it, not in all a section, but in sections like this, that's why I loop it, so I can identify that and try and make those things really subtle, right? So. Now, for example, there's dynamic things in this section that I know I'm going to want to achieve. Like I want the kick. There's two kicks. It goes dun 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 boom boom. I want to accent those two kicks. So with that, I use the artist mix and put it into. I wish there was a way to and there isn't, from what I can tell, get it to auto go into touch mode. But then I can just kind of like push through it, right? So do it again. Now we can kind of do the same thing. We can just kind of bring dynamically that down with the snare sample. And now I'm feeling that first hit there, we need more of the sub on that there. So we'll do the same thing here. Okay, and then from here, what do we got at the end here? So there's the jangle, which we're not using, and then what's this guy doing? EQ will probably work because it's like light enough in size that it will fit. What we can do then is just say yes. In fact, maybe just a hair less. Come here, you. All right. And then the GP is just a little loud at the end, so we'll just crank that down just a dink hair. And the reason why the GP works well that level before is by the end, where all the orchestra's in, you've got all sorts of shit going on, and then the GP is like kind of moot at that point, where it takes up a lot more space earlier. So basically, since Ocean Machine, since the very beginning, I had this old GP 100. It's this sort of idiosyncratic sound that I've been using forever that is a very different frequency range than the rest of the guitars, and it provides a sort of depth that I think is really unique, right? So an example of how it would work with the main guitars. So if this is just the guitars, you add the GP, it does this. And it just adds this kind of weird, misty thing on the top, right? And also because that guitar has a lot like 3 to 6K in it, you can kind of duck that in the heavy guitars. So let's see. So from here, we've got this guy. So where's that? Okay, so there's a frequency there, and it's good to set basic frequencies in the beginning that are like an overview, but then when it's a consistent sound, if things start breaking that fourth wall at this stage where you're starting to find slots for things, then I know that frequency that is breaking the wall needs to be done globally, if that makes sense. So here there's something, I don't know, where is that, like a little below 1 maybe? Yeah, about 1.5. We can make that a more narrow cue, and then by doing that, I realize there's a bit too much of the low. So there, now that should work, and we can dip it in that end because that follows the orchestra there. That da 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 da. Now the cymbal goofiness up there can come down in that section. Now for this big ending, and again, you'll be tweaking this as you go, but that armory snare, this one is super fucking cool for like climaxes in terms of, you know, music at least. So not the... So for that kind of like, at that point, if we raise this, it's cool what it does. Check it. Why don't I do the right snare? All right, so that's air snare. So the one we're looking for is armory snare. There we go.
tasty.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah.
No, it's funny. It's like, because I know you're orchestrally minded as well, Eyal. So it's like the whole mix process for me, which is probably counterintuitive to the ways that a lot of people think you should do it. It serves a practical purpose for me because I'm trying to do orchestration with it. So it's all based on frequencies and relative levels. Compression is like something to glue it together on the master, just so it doesn't sound like it's disjointed. Make the drums sound, as rock as you can with this level of kind of fastidiousness. But really, it's about how do you get it so everything's got a spot. And so it's big moves first, low end, and then keep going smaller. And then as the instruments come together, by the end, it's like you listen in mono for a day. And then you try and get everything that you hear in mono. And then if you can't, then that's where the frequencies start to become important. Because that, you can't see it. Avantone. It's just, they're like $400, but they're like the shit. This thing here. That guy. But that's like the secret weapon, man.
Yeah, speaking orchestrally minded, I think that it's like a cliche thing to say that like it's all in the arrangement, but it really actually is, because with the proper arrangement, those elements will lend themselves to being heard, like you said,
totally.
to where all the EQ moves and all that will just kind of like take 100%. It the rest of the way, but in the DNA of how it's put together, like it should kind of just work.
Yeah, dude. And I think a lot of what I've experienced in the past when I've been working with mixing engineers and producers is a lot of the things that make other music sound really badass compromises the arrangement for me, right? Like, because you get that big, too many cymbals are a problem, right? Like straight out of the gate. But let me just keep going here. So the end harmony is this guy, the one we had talked about earlier. Let's see.